This world will burn.
This world will burn. Step into the dark. Meet your death.
There appears to be some tentacles. Would you say this is architecture or maybe something else?
It is definitely something. I'm not going to say what it is, but there is definitely...
Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Saving RuneScape podcast. Today I'm blessed to be joined by RuneScape 3 environmental artist Mod Blkwitch. I was very excited to have this conversation as she was one of the first J-mods that I ever interacted with. I'm a big fan of her in-game work as well as her out-of-game work, and I urge you to go interact and follow with her on x.com, formerly known as Twitter. Her and the other J-mods are really active there, and it's a good way to join the discussion. But I won't hold you up any further. Here's my conversation with Mod Blkwitch. Welcome, Gillinorians. I'm incredibly excited to bring you today's episode. I have been a fan of Mod Blkwitch's work since I returned from old school RuneScape, captivated by some of her paintings, some of her environmental work. I'm really thankful to have you here today. You do not know what it means to me. How are you doing, Mod Blkwitch?
I'm really good. I'm happy to be here, so absolutely no problem at all.
Yeah, I was really happy to hear that you're working on the Daemonheim Digsite. I have to say, it's fucking cool. Yeah,
I'm so happy with it. I started working on that when it was still a game jam project. Like Mod KOC had been reaching out for like the past few game jams. I was like, I need some help with this. And everyone in the environment team had been looking at it, and I was like, that's quite a big project to do in a game jam. But I was like, let's go.
It is so wonderful and evil, and but the thing I liked about it, especially when I first saw it, it was so different from the other Moksha in appearance. Like, the appearance it has, like, when I saw the red and stuff, and I think honestly it was you. I don't know if, I assume you asked before you posted it, but you posted, like, a whip in, like, December of last year, and, like, it had been posted for, I want to say, like, 30 seconds, and I was like, that's a Moksha, and, like, immediately was like, but, yeah, that is so cool. How did you feel when it got moved from Game Jam to, like, the main release schedule, if that's what it's called?
Yes, really happy. Immediately then reached out to like our producer and be like, can I still continue working on it? Like, because obviously we have our schedule of things that we're already working on, and when that got moved into the main schedule, I was like, can I make sure that I'm on that project instead of anyone else? I wanna finish it. I started on it. I know what I want it to look like, so I wanna take it to finish. Because I was first scheduled to be on another project. I was supposed to be on the Sanctum of Rebirth, right? That's going to come out.
Okay.
That was mentioned. So I dropped that for this, and then a few other projects. So I'm in Skilling Boss now after that, which will be fun.
Interesting.
But, yes, no, it's really good. I'm very happy with it. And like you say, I really wanted it to be different from the Moksha and Orton. Mm-hmm. Like, I made both of those.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want this to look just like a copy-paste. I don't want it to just look the same.
Believe it or not, I'm a huge fan of the original. I've featured it in a lot of the lore stuff just because of the lore significance. But, like, beauty-wise, like, when you go in there, you feel, like, a few different elements. Kind of like the Zeroshian, like, gold is important, purpley, like the regalness of that, like it captures that, but then you've also got like the party room, like the Augur Dragonkin are in there having like orgies and like hitting the hookah, and it's very just, I don't know, it's otherworldly. You did a good job of like capturing their lore in a space. And like, you know, in all the lore books, like, as big of a fan as I am of the writing, like, getting to go in and then see that was just, like, that was chef's kiss. Yeah. Did you have any inspiration for that? I know that wasn't on my prepared questions. Like maybe for both of them, like did you have any kind of inspirations that you drew from on those?
Yeah, for like the one in Orton, it was very much the concept artist who had been working on it. What's his mod name? He's been gone for a little while. I think it was
Okay.
Mod Blkwitch is his name. He like had done like a lot of like really cool designs and had a very clear vision for it. So most of my inspiration for that just came from talking to him. And then it was also like, yeah, we just wanted to have like a plush nightclub vibe to it
Okay.
almost.
Yeah.
While the one in Daemonheim, I just wanted to feel a lot more dangerous and threatening. And yeah, I also just
Even the
because it
music
was
in
getting
there, even the music in
yeah,
there, like the
it's so
whispering and
good.
the yeah. Oh, I'm glad that you're a fan of that too. You know,
Mm.
I know the visuals is probably already a lot of bandwidth, but like having that sound accompanying it. Because I remember when I first went in there on stream, I was like bumping some music, and I was like, no, what am I doing? Turned everything off, and I turned it on, and I heard the screeching and like the sound of like stuff calling for you, and it's yeah, it
Yeah, it's so cool every time when I make an environment or like any project that we work on. When as soon as audio goes in, I like immediately jump in game as well to like listen to it. I was like, what did you do? Because it's so nice to actually to hear the audio that goes with it. Because a lot of times we will have talks with the audio team and they will reach out and be like, what's the vibe? What do you think
mhm.
would fit this? And
Yeah, that one.
yeah, just being able to talk with them and then hearing what they make of it. Because like every single soundtrack they do is so good.
It really is. I have to say I listen to like the sounds with the sounds on probably just as much as other stuff, and it's like it really does, especially like during a quest, you know, or something
Yeah.
like where you are like I don't know the word consuming like the story that's going on and immersing yourself, having like the music and the visuals. No, it pairs well
Mm.
together. Um, the so I did ask you if I could ask this question. All right, because
Yeah.
kind of a big one. Picked up a couple other things you mentioned about the skilling boss. That I'm very excited for that as well. But there seems to be a mysterious mass in the background at Daemonheim. There appears to be some tentacles. Would you say this is architecture or maybe something else?
Mod KOC like screenshotted it to me and sent it to me when you reacted that on Twitter as well. And I saw that like some people in the lower Discord were discussing that as well, and I saw that some people were like, "Oh, it's nothing." It is definitely something. I'm not gonna say what it is, but there is definitely something, and it's there on purpose. But yeah.
Are you trying to make me cry? You trying to make me cry right now? I
not
love,
not really, but yeah.
I love. It was just enough. You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
it was like you left just enough to where like people could tell me that's just a rock wall. Like so they thought I was getting mad at them in the Discord, in the
I
lore Discord. I was like, I'm not getting mad at you at all. I'm just really excited. There's tentacles and stuff. Like I think I was outside and I didn't have a chance to get like a good screenshot.
mm.
And then there was like the really close. That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, there are some designs. There's like I got one of the concept artists to do like a range of designs
Mm.
of like how blatant do we want to go with whatever that is, and there I don't know if we'll ever share those concepts, but there were some insane ones in there. And then like Mod Jack was like, we need to tone that down.
Uh,
So I think we got like a good
I'm
yeah. I'm
I'm
glad
gonna
with how it
message
turned out.
I'm gonna message Mod Jack and be like, listen, you stop toning things down, Mod Jack. No, I honestly big shout out to Mod Jack.
Hmm.
I used to think he didn't like Zaltok. I'm not gonna lie, we talked about it, and let me just say, the man has a great taste in Eldritch horror literature and other media. So shout out to Mod Jack.
No, I think Mod Jack is very interested in all of that.
Yeah,
I think he also just has a difficult job of having to keep a bit of a balance
I
between
I
what's
want to
going
fully
on.
admit I was kind of an asshole and didn't understand like
Mm,
I didn't understand. You know, you don't know till you know, and I redact any thoughts that maybe he didn't like Erebus and Zaltok. Mod Jack is the man. He's the first one who even told me about the Shadow Realm lore book,
okay.
and it was kind of interesting. I went and made like a whole documentary on it. And sorry, just quick tangent, you know.
No, go for it.
Because you know we like Erebus. You like Erebus, right? It's a pretty cool
Yeah.
place, and we mentioned maybe some stuff about some concepts for Erebus too. We were talking about in a little bit, but when I saw that it was in Requiem for a Dragon, it like it felt so vindicating to like have made
Mm.
something months beforehand and then see it in game. Like that means a lot. Like I'm just some like dude who really likes the game you guys make, and to you know see some stuff get added to game, and I don't know, to be able to talk to you, it's really humbling, and I appreciate your all's time is what I'm getting at. We're gonna just jump straight to some personal stuff real quick,
Okay.
if that's all right.
Yeah.
What got you into art, and like why, if you don't mind?
No, absolutely not. Um, it's a difficult question. I've been drawing and painting for basically as long as I can remember. So I don't remember what got me into it in the first place because I was just like tiny when I first started. Um, but yeah, it's always something that I did in my free time from very young all the way through university. It's just draw. I drew mainly people. I like drawing. Like if I draw, I like drawing people. Like my paintings you see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that always just I don't know. That's how I relax, and that's what I always enjoy doing. Then when I wanted to decide what I was going to do professionally, I was kind of stuck between: do I want to study something to do with history, or do I want to do something art related? And then, well, I loved video games
Yeah.
as well, obviously. And then there was a university close to where I lived. I come from Belgium, and there was a university close to my hometown that taught how to make video games. And I was like, oh my god, that sounds great. And the whole course for that was specifically art for video games, like all of the different disciplines. You have like concept art, environment art, character art, like 3D art, animation, VFX, and they kind of taught all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to do that. Went in there thinking I wanted to be a concept artist, so an artist who does like the actual designs for all of the places. Not very good at that.
Really?
Uh, no, not really. I don't have this is weird, but I don't really have a visual brain. Like I can't easily visualize stuff in my head.
Are
I
you too
I
specific with your art? Like I maybe get what you mean, like because
mm,
I'm a terrible artist, but I try. I paint some stuff here and there, but like I can't ever paint certain things. But if it's like real intense, and I don't even know how to like real dark, like I can't paint a gentle things like watercolors.
mm,
I can't do anything like that. Or is it like a different vector? Like
it's a little bit like that. It's I need to very specifically enjoy what I'm working on, otherwise I can't get it
oh
done.
okay, you gotta
But
find the muse if you've heard
yes,
that.
but
Okay,
also yeah, but also at the same time, I need a lot of reference. I can't really visualize what stuff looks like in my head, even though I know what it is. I see it
hmm,
every day. I can't just like see the image in
okay,
my head. I need the actual reference. But yeah, I did that. Concept art was interesting, but not entirely for me. Then I thought I wanted to make characters. I like sculpting them in 3D and making all of the pretty stuff, but creating a character for video games has a lot of technical aspects of it as well. Like the
okay.
way that you construct it, because they have to animate, there's a lot of rules that go into it.
And it has to work with other environments and
Yeah.
items. Okay, okay.
Yeah, and especially for RuneScape, like there's so many rules of like, oh, this can't be bigger than that size. Like gloves need to fit in this slot because otherwise you will have clipping, and there's so many rules. And
Okay.
it's not entirely for me. And then I also got to do environment art at my
Hmm.
university. And I don't know, there's something really special about being able to build an environment in 3D and then being able to run around through it.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. And as I say, I'm very specific with what I like to do. So I very much just like making stylized medieval fantasy environment art. Like don't ever make me do sci-fi. At one point I did an art test for No Man's Sky to work on that game.
Hmm.
I had to make a drone and I was miserable.
That's hilarious.
so so RuneScape kind of is a perfect fit for me because like obviously it is stylized medieval fantasy art. So that's exactly the niche that I enjoy doing.
Using the word niche and like while I was listening to you say that, one of the things I've always loved about RuneScape, it's kind of like we're all like the island of misfit toys.
Mm,
Like everybody in the community has like a very specific like community or niche like thing that they bring to the table, and that's really cool to hear. Yeah, no, that is like that's awesome. I As far as sci-fi goes, like I enjoy consuming it, but I understand completely what you mean. There's like a magic to it. You're kind of like a
yeah.
cyber gardener, if you will, but you're like gardening our adventure. And then
Mm,
and like hearing that too, you're kind of controlling like our emotion with the environment. If it's dark, like you were saying, in Daemonheim, you want it to be like evil. It can't just be like abandoned. It got to.
exactly. Like environments in video games are so important because usually that's like the biggest section of your screen. That's
Mm-hmm.
like the majority of what you see is the environment. So I really enjoy being able to, especially on RuneScape as well. We kind of the environment team has full control over it from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
In some bigger studios, well, like I don't know. So let's say AAA games, if you would work on like a Red Dead Redemption 2 or something, for example, you will have people who just do level design, so just do the layout, and you have people who just make the assets that go into it. Then you'll have people who just do lighting, and then you have people who just build
So
the
it goes
actual
through
environment.
50 different hands before
Yes,
it's
exactly.
okay.
While our team is a lot smaller
We
and
have
we
organic.
do everything. Yeah, we kind of we do everything from like the layout to making all of the individual assets to putting it together, putting the lighting on it, so you have full control over the entire layout, the mood, the atmosphere, every single little detail that goes into it. Like sometimes we'll work together with other artists, but for example, the Daemonheim, like the Warp Depths environment was just me. Well then Mod Alex
Oh,
did the graphical overhaul to the surface. So it's nice being able to just take something and completely make it your own.
yeah, that I mean it really doesn't. I don't know. Okay, so again, I just want to backtrack on how much like this
Mm.
site getting this means to me. In like 2010, or I think it was like 2010 roughly
Mm.
when Daemonheim came out. Like there was so much mystery, and like the the teenager in me at like a crucial point in my life really needed that. I want to say 16, 17, so it was either go out and party on Saturday night or stay in my house safe and
Yeah.
not get involved in any dumb stuff. And it's like, to be honest, RuneScape saved my life like a lot of times, and this was one of those times like where really I needed to like get my shit straight, if you will. I was getting suspended, all
Mm.
kinds of other stuff. And I remember when this came out, like how much time I spent just wanting to know was at the bottom of Daemonheim, and like getting to go in there has been such a treat for me. And I'm not a skiller by any means, but I found myself hanging out in there. I just go in there and just type out like literally, there's a grinding darkness against which your soul shall be lathed, and then people are like, shut up. um so like, what if you're just hanging out in your
Mm.
personal time, what inspires you to create then? Like, do you have, if you're having like a shitty day, or is it a good day, or is it a little bit of everything?
I've really been struggling with personal art ever since I went to university, I'll be honest. It's like,
It's work now.
yeah, it is work now. And like, especially when I went to university, like, they only wanted very specific art styles. So it was only like, you have to draw realistic. It can't be anything else. So that kind of like beat the fun out of me for that. And even now, it's like, oh, everything I create has to be really good because I do this professionally. So it's one of the reasons why I made like those like paintings of like Zamrak, for example,
Yes, those are
the one
so
in the
fun.
chaise long,
I love them.
because it's silly, but it's really fun to do.
But it
It's
goes
like a fun
hard as
challenge.
fuck. Like that's
Yeah, it's
I love how you got that, cuz like it's one of those things, like there's a line where it would just be like a lewd meme. And then
mm,
there's like a line where it's like a Victorian like piece of art that someone would hang above their fireplace. And you call it like the hard as fuck middle. I would describe it as like metal. Like I could literally see that, like if I ever had a mansion, I want like one of those just hanging above the
yes.
fireplace.
I've been considering printing it out and putting it on the wall
Uh,
somewhere in my
that would
house.
that
It'll
would
be
be
really
amazing.
funny.
Yeah, that would be
But
amazing.
so yeah, it's kind of finding just, I don't know, every so often I'll just have like a burst of inspiration, but I haven't done as much personal art as I should.
I was kind
I
of
Yeah.
surprised about okay, so I was just ignorant to it before we started our conversation. I didn't know that you actually didn't do any character models. I didn't know
Yeah.
those were two different disciplines. Like you actually kind of blew my mind with that. Apologize for my
Mhm.
ignorance, like, but
No
I am
worries at
learning
all.
something today. Well, because it's like I've seen some of your character work, and it's yeah, it's awesome. But that does make complete sense. It's interacting with so many
Mhm.
other aspects of the game. Let's see. What
I'm happy to mention it because like the amount of times that people ask me like, oh, when are you updating this character or when are you doing the player avatar? It's like I don't know how. Like that's not even part of my knowledge. I have no idea how to do that. Like ask me about environments, but yeah, the character art is a whole different discipline. It's a whole different team.
I know I'm gonna get a little flack for this. The only thing that bugs me about my character is it literally has like no butt cheeks. But aside from that, is like I'm not joking. Like literally, it's like completely flat. But I played old school, so I mean I'm not
Mm.
super picky when it comes to like how my character looks. And but I am happy that the fashionscape community is growing. I do like that too. But
Yeah.
yeah, character avatar remodel, I'm sorry, isn't necessarily one of my like top things. I like I said really enjoy like environment. Ungale was really cool too.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
Yeah, that ended up being beautiful. But I wanted to ask, how did you first hear of RuneScape?
That was ages ago, back when I was in primary school. I must have been like about 10 years old, maybe. I have two older brothers, and one of them got introduced to RuneScape by some of his friends in his class. So we started playing it together as well. So I played for like a few years when I was young. My parents never bought me membership, so I could just do free to play. Then kind of dropped off for a while, and then when I was at university like last year, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do or like which studios I wanted to go for. I um, I realized RuneScape was still around, and I liked the work that they were doing. And I think at that point, I think Metaphos had released fairly recently, so seeing that, I was like, oh, that looks so good. I would love to make things like that. So then I started playing again and applying, and I was like, hey, Jagex, are you looking for an environment artist? And then they rejected me originally, so then I applied again a year later and got the job.
Isn't it kind of funny like persistence and like how fate can at first just kind of seems like wow, 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 and then it ends up being like the path.
Mm-hmm.
No, sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's one of the things as well. Like if you get rejected or something, if it doesn't work out first time around, just keep going.
Yep.
I lucked out that the previous place I worked at was another game studio here in Cambridge, and I very closely worked together there on a game that got cancelled. It's never going to come out, unfortunately.
Aw.
But with the character artist who made Solak, so he came from Jagex. So it was like as soon as he left RuneScape, he came to the studio I was at. So he had worked on RuneScape. Incredible guy, incredible good artist. So yeah, the guy who made Solak and Maretial and a bunch of other characters.
Yeah, that place looks awesome. I'm not much of a
Mm.
soul hacker. Kind of was before my time, just a little bit. I think I came back like right around Elder God Wars. Yeah, actually like a month before Carapac released. But what was your favorite project that you've worked on since you've been with Jagex?
Yeah, I I think it is Zamorak. It was just like the atmosphere within the team, and I really like working together with Mod Ramen. Like we work together really well. And
He
there's
laughed at
something
me when I
genuinely
died
just
at Osseous, and I don't appreciate that. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
that sounds like him, yeah. But there's something incredibly cool about just being able like, hey, you need to make a boss arena where you fight one of the gods. Like that's so cool. So I loved working on that, and it had quite a bunch of fun technical challenges to do, like the big
Edicts.
magical dome that's around it.
Okay. Yeah.
That was not straightforward to create in our engine. It when it was first said, I was like, oh, we can't do that. I was like, we'll find a way to make that work. But yeah, other than that, I think like my second favorite probably has to be Extinction.
Oh
So it's kind
yeah.
of like, yeah, split first place between Zamorak and Extinction, I think.
It's the evil places, right? Those are the cool ones to make.
Well, for Extinction, I unfortunately didn't get to build Erebus. I
Okay.
built Aya. So that's not really an evil place. It's a very tragic, beautiful environment, Aya. But I don't know. There was also
Oh wow,
again
okay.
there was something again really exciting about just working on that project, and
It's very
from the very
dream
beginning,
it's very
yeah.
dreamy, and I that's probably intentional, but yeah, it is very
Mhm.
dreamy and sunny, kind of like just like a warm I know this sounds weird, but it's like a warm sunny afternoon as you just like fade away into the afterlife. Like that's kind of like
No,
the gist it gives.
exactly. Yeah, I wanted it to be really nice and welcoming, so that it's extra tragic when it gets destroyed. It feels quite evil almost, but no, that project was just really excited from the very beginning, hearing like when much like pulling up like the storyboard of like this is what's happening within this quest, and this is like where all of the moments of escalations are, and what we want players to feel like. It's like, oh, this is exciting, and it felt really good to work on.
Yeah, that place is beautiful. Wow. Actually, yeah, I had no idea. So like what parts of the game do you think could maybe do with just a little bit of a facelift? Are there any environments that you particularly want to dive into?
There's quite a few. Um, Mauritania,
Oh,
my beloved.
yes.
um, Obviously, I like a dark aesthetic, so being able to rework Darkmire, especially, would be really good. Although I don't feel like it immediately, like that part, the actual Darkmire doesn't immediately need a rework. It
Mhm.
holds up surprisingly well. Mire Ditch, however, really dislike that place.
Yeah.
Visually, it's a nightmare to walk around in, and you can't see easily what is the floor, what is walls in a building. It frustrates me so much. So I would love to update just the entirety of Mauritania, but
That would
it's a big project.
that would be awesome. I mean, a lot of it does look good from the like vampire quest work and stuff. You
Mm,
know, it still looks pretty good. But yeah, a lot of the swamp area too is just like
yeah,
five different toadstools and some stuff like that. So yeah, it could certainly use a
hmm
refresher. I
it could
was
be a lot more intimidating than what is there now.
You've got like Tarn's lair. I think some of it might be updated, but maybe even some stuff like that. And I mean, he kind of is a necromancer, so maybe if he ever gets featured in some quests or something, he'll get a little love. If you had an unlimited budget for a project though, what would you work on? Would it be Mauritania, or would you just take on like would you make a new continent? Like what your most ambitious dream for RuneScape?
I mean, there's two of them: unlimited budget and unlimited time, full overhaul of the entire game. Well, not full overhaul, but just bringing everything up to the same standard as stuff that we bring out now. So making sure that everything is consistent. But I also want to. Lots of people have asked about this, but I want to rework Player in House completely from scratch and actually make it with full customization, like furniture that you can customize, things that you can place around. I would do that
So
because it
many
would
people
be
want
a
that. Yeah.
very, yeah, it would be a very fun challenge to work on. But yeah, it's a big project.
It is. It's it is one of the things that is nice on old school. They have quite a comprehensive POH,
Mm.
and I think like some visuals along with a little bit of utility. That's interesting. I really didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah, it would just be a great project to have for us as well, because then you can kind of feed it back into the world. Like for example, if you would, I don't know, like with Mauritania, if you make a vampire building kit for your player in house, you could use that to then update Darkmire, for
Oh,
example. So there could be like a lot of back and forth where it'd be like, this is a Varrock building kit. Use that to update the city again. So there's a lot of like back and forth that would make it a very weirdly economic, smart
yeah.
project. But yeah, it's a big one to figure out and to make it work. But yeah,
I hope that
maybe one day.
I hope they one day. Well, yeah, I hope one day they let you cook on that. I definitely think that would be awesome. It Why is evil more visually appealing than light a lot of the time?
It's a good question. Like I feel like I'm biased. Again, obviously, I quite like a dark aesthetic, but I think a lot of the time, evil is more like opulent, almost more like decadent, because that almost gets associated more with evil, while like good and light seems a lot more like held back, a lot more basic a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like maximalist aesthetics and I like dark colors and all of that. And I don't know, there's always something more attractive, I guess, about things that you're not supposed to have.
Yeah,
There's something extra good about that.
it's like relatable, and
Yeah.
things that I think Mod Zera and I talked about this. If it's like if something's perfect, it's suspicious. Where if
Mm,
it's just
it is.
kind of evil, you already know what you're in store for, and you can like
Yeah.
kind of appreciate what it is. It's like
Yeah, and a lot of
dangerous
time
animal or something.
evil is more like unapologetically itself a lot
Mhm.
of the times, I feel.
There's
So
no bullshit. It's just that
yeah.
that is what it is. Um, could you tell me about? Actually, no. Before we go that one, what kind of music do you like?
I it kind of depends on the mood that I'm in. I listen to quite a lot of metal and like atmospheric doom a lot of the times as well.
Okay.
Um, or video game music, depending on the mood I'm in. If I play like a good video game that has good music, I'll put that on. But yeah, it kind of depends on the mood I'm in. I really like the metal band Avatar lately. I really like them. Saw
Okay.
them live not too long ago. They are incredibly good.
Yeah,
But
live shows
then,
are dope. You get
oh
you
yeah,
get to actually know whether the band is like, a studio band or whether they get
mm,
down.
exactly. And there's something so yeah, it takes you like away from reality almost for a few hours if it's an actual like good show.
The sleep after a good show, like just knocked
Mm,
out next morning, like yeah, no. I agree with you. I was talking about that on stream the other day. It's been so long. It's probably been like 5 years since I've been to like a big concert, and it ain't even got to be a big concert, but just like something where it was bumping. So
yeah,
pre-COVID.
I prefer smaller scale concerts honestly. Like I think last year or the year before that, I went to see Ramstein in Belgium, and they only do like really big shows.
Hmm.
And I don't know, at that point, I feel like when it's that big that you're like really far away from the stage because you can't even get close to it, and it's just like so much people. I can't really get that much into it. I much prefer like smaller venues where like I don't know, there's like three people in front of you, and then there's a stage or something like that.
Because you can really catch the vibe then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big shows. I mean, even if it's a band you really like, it's just a lot of people can be like. I mean, it's okay to be obnoxious. I'm not trying to sound like a dick or
Mm,
anything, but just like, yeah, a smaller show you can appreciate it and catch more of the vibe, and it's almost like
exactly.
recharging, you know. Okay, so now, if you don't mind, I want to jump into a little bit of Erebus. So,
Yeah, go for it.
could you tell me about how you like see Erebus as an artist? I just to set a little bit of context. Shout out again to Mod Jack. He mentioned some Ocean of Corpses stuff, which is related to my favorite RuneScape character, at least in my opinion, Zaltok. And I want to know like this is all hypothetical again. You know, anything you say, it's just your
Mm.
opinion right now, for all I know, or I hope this comes in the game. But like, what do you think of Erebus? Like, how would you design it? What do you think about it as an artist?
I would want it to feel really alien and like really like you're not supposed to belong there. Yeah, you mentioned like oceans of corpses as well. So like ages ago when we started work on Extinction, and there were first discussions about Erebus. Like I remember that we were at a pub one evening and Mod Jack showed up. You can kind of summon him by just messaging him on Discord in the evening, being like, "Yo, Mod Jack, we're like at a pub 5 minutes from your house. Come and hang out." And then he literally was like, "Do you want to make an ocean of corpses?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." So ever since he mentioned that, that is kind of how I see Erebus as well, in a way. Just like very hostile, very I don't know, almost a lot darker than what we went with is what I would go for. Because, yeah, as I said before, I didn't get to work on Erebus itself.
I think his explanation was
And,
that was kind of shallow
mm,
Erebus, and which could leave some room for some, some coarse
yeah,
oceans, of course.
definitely. I see it as like a really big realm, and that this is only a small part of it. Because I don't entirely feel like we nailed the feeling of it being alien. Because yes, it is like floating rock islands within like a purple like lightning storm. But we do a surprising amount of floating rock islands in RuneScape, so it didn't feel that strange. And I would really want it to be, I don't know, maybe have the scale completely distorted that when you come in, it's like all massive, and you really feel like
Nothing.
everything is threatening. And yeah, exactly. You feel like nothing, and you really feel like, oh god, this is really a place where why did I come here? Why I should not set foot here.
That's how Daemonheim feels to me, to be honest. Like,
Mm.
even from the, I don't remember what the official name is, the little blog you guys did with you and Mod, is it KOC?
Yeah, KOC and Mod
Okay, I
Alex,
just wanted to
the
make sure I
Deadeye,
said it.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, sorry, I want to make sure I said his
no
name
worries.
right. Okay, but yeah, the diary that you all did,
Mm-hmm.
and shout out to them too. The work on this was awesome. I think everything was awesome about it. But when I was looking behind the scenes, I even screenshotted some of the whatever's in the background, and I'm like, bros, there's this looks like a hand, and this looks like a tentacle, and they're like, nah, man, nah, dude. And then these are my friends. I'm not talking about the lower
Mm.
Discord conversation after it came out, but it was funny because then my friend goes, "You son of a bitch!" Like he's like, "You're right." He's like, and I'm like, "I know, man," but I like that. I don't know if you and I didn't prepare this question for you or anything.
Mhm.
When it comes to like scale like that, I feel like we veer away from that a lot in RuneScape because of the like the budget. I think it
Yeah,
feels like we got to fight that being, but I like having stuff. I think it's cool to foreshadow, right?
yeah, definitely. I think it's good to have you need to have unanswered questions. I like seeing players speculate about stuff, and I feel like you need that.
Yes.
Like you need to keep people excited, and a good way of doing that is having big unanswered questions and hinting to it, and like giving people just enough that they can start figuring out, but not enough that they know exactly what is going on. I think it's really important to have that.
This has all of it. Again, it's one of those
Mm.
things like I won't sit and just go down my lore rabbit holes with everything, but with the proximity to Ulf and Krioth, the Shadow Reef, Uller Grax, the Dragonkin Laboratory, the Infernal
Mm.
Source, all these other things, and then now there's going to be the connections with the Sanctum of Rebirth. It's it's so exciting, and I rambled so long with Modzur about how excited I am because he's working on the next story quest.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find every shred of evidence I can for it. But like, how do you feel about like the other parts of Demonheim? Do you see yourself ever maybe working on some of the actual floors? Is that something that would ever interest you?
Yes, definitely. It's just there's a lot of it, and it would need a full new like kind of building kit and assets to make it. Because I wouldn't want to lose the actual like I wouldn't want to lose the actual look of those floors.
Mm-hmm.
So it would require quite a lot of work to
Oh,
remake
okay, okay.
assets completely from scratch. And there's a lot of floors.
There is, yes.
So so definitely I want to. But at the same because they are quite contained, like you actually have to like go in them and then you're just within that floor and there's nothing around you. They are, in my opinion, a bit less high priority to update than the overworld, for example, where you can
Sure.
walk just straight from one area into another and see both areas of like different ages of graphics next to each other. So I first want to keep it when you actually just walk around, everything around you consistent, and then
So
after that,
context is important in a way to
yeah,
priority. Like as in because two environments are sharing a border, it's less immersive. I get what you're saying. Like as in
yeah,
it doesn't take you out of it if I'm loading a screen for a second and then appear in a floor versus if they're right beside each other and one looks bad and
Yeah.
one looks good. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes
So
perfect sense.
but my priorities, or what I personally want to prioritize more, is just the environments where indeed you stand here, you look that way, and you can just see something from that looks like out of a completely different game almost.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Relica as a Viking Fremennik myself. I enjoyed the look of it. It really caught like it gave it more of a culture. Like, to be honest, before it basically still had the same look as on old school, same style of buildings, and it kind of had
Yeah.
like that Sherpa, um, you know, Scandinavian. Like it pulled some really cool stuff. And I know I didn't prep this on my question list. I really do get what you mean now. That is for sure. Um, and especially with like Group Iron Man coming in, I've been theorizing. Okay, so my again, sorry for tangent.
Okay.
My Group Iron Man team, we planned way back in December, just me and my friends, and a bunch of nerds get together, have fun. We're gonna be like the super troopers of Iron Man. But like when I saw that Mod Stu was doing like the quest streamline, and then some of the like older areas were getting the graphical reworks, like Ardoin, I hope I'm saying that right, and Relica. I was like, man, are they planning on like an influx of new players or something? And I'm like, oh, GIM's coming out. They're like, you're crazy, man. But no, I definitely think that is pertinent for a new player. You don't want to take them out of the immersion. Um,
No, exactly. You want them to have like a good first impression. It's very important to have that.
Absolutely. I kind of got off down a side avenue about Erebus. My follow up on that, if you don't mind, did you actually work on any like thoughts for how you would have done like the Corpse Ocean? Like I know you say alien, and my mind could go a lot of different ways. Like, are you thinking tentacly? Are you like what kind of gist did you have for it? Like, have the corpses be part of the environment, like functioning, and almost
Mm.
like melted into it, or was it going to be, like what were your thoughts for that? I'm just curious, like, because in my head I'm imagining a few different things.
Yeah, I never really went fully into like how would I approach it,
Hmm.
but I want it to feel, if I would do it, I want it to feel grotesque. Have you played Bloodborne?
I've seen some of the art from it.
Okay, because there's like a boss in Bloodborne. I think he's called the One Reborn, who is just like a mass of like different corpses kind of stuck together. So something like that would
Let me
be
see.
really cool.
Oh, I'm pulling them up.
So he's always like one that I think of it like
Oh shit.
grotesque. It's like, yeah,
Okay. Some
stuff like that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No. That's exactly kind of like how I would
Mm.
imagine, and stuff that's literally supposed to make you fucking uncomfortable, and
Yeah,
yeah, you shouldn't see this. There's a
no,
movie and
exactly.
it's like a stop animation and it's like horrific. I forget the name of it. I'll even just send you some clips later, but it reminds me. It's like almost a seven layers of hell, like a
Mm.
Dante's Inferno type thing, like where it just gets horrific. I don't know if you know that game I'm talking about. It was kind of fell off the map. It was kind of like God of War, but with more like a Judeo Christian like theme behind it.
I don't
But
think I know it. No.
okay, but like basically hell was almost like one big living creature and just like grotesque, made of the souls of the damned. And
Mm.
yeah, that's definitely the vibe I get there. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's evil as I hadn't seen this guy before.
But yeah, then at the same time, there's also I've been playing Plague Tale lately. I don't know if you've ever played that game,
Mm-mm.
which it's it's a really really sad, depressing game, but it's really good.
Blake
But
Tail.
a Plague Tale,
Oh, Plague Tale. Okay.
yes. But at one point in a section, so you're just like a child, and at one point you have to walk together with your young brother over a battlefield, like a medieval battlefield of a battle that's finished. So you just have to walk over corpses as far as you can see around you. And they're just guys, but they're dead. And it's like harrowing almost to do that. So there's something quite,
The scale of death.
yeah,
It's inhuman because
exactly.
all of us in our day to day lives, like
Mm.
I mean, I don't want to bring up any because I don't want to bring anything too horrific up like IRL, but I mean I've been to funerals, things like that, and it's like seeing one dead person is bad enough, and I'm sure many of us have lost loved ones, but seeing just so much, each one of those people with a story snuffed out.
Yeah, exactly. So I want it to be, I would want it to be both grotesque but still kind of recognizable almost, because that makes it more horrific than if it's just completely alien and abstract. So it's
Kind of
like
like
a
how the
middle
abyss
ground
is
somewhere
more
between that.
the abyss is more just straight up alien.
Hmm.
But well, I guess there's the flesh and stuff, but it's not necessarily made of like corpses and stuff.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. Okay, that's sick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep trying to get some of that because that sounds cool as fuck.
But yeah, that is just how I would do it.
Sure.
Like if we would actually do it, it would just be me. It
We
would
can
be
just add a
much.
portal to the Moksha device, just a rift location where we can go and explore your awesome concept of Erebus. No, that sounds wonderful.
Mm.
If you had a favorite story to work on, which one in the game do you think fits your personal style? Because you got vampires, you got gnomes. I think probably vampires. I'm just gonna guess you like
Probably,
some
yeah.
vampire. Okay.
Definitely, like aesthetically, that would definitely suit me the best. But at the same, like honestly, gnomes would be fun though.
In your head,
it's
what
I don't,
kind of thoughts do you have with gnomes? Like, maybe take me through it a little bit. What kind of environments come to your mind?
it's I know Mod like is dying to do like a gnome quest.
I want that
But
too. I know I'm the
yeah,
Zaltok guy, but I was telling her I want to see Arpa Sandra so bad. My apologies. Continue.
no worries at all. So yeah, I kind of like where the gnome storyline was going. The actual like at the Grand Tree, that like everything looks so wholesome, but then that you find out again that not all of the like the cute fluffy creatures are what they seem. So I kind of like the doubleness there of like, oh, you have like this beautiful, wholesome, too cutesy, perfect place on the surface, and then something more weird going on under it. So I kind of like that duality. So it would be fun to explore more of that
Kind
in
of
the
like
environment as well.
how Aya has kind of a double, like it's beautiful, but when you
Mm-hmm.
know especially what's happening, it's extra sad. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen the movie Lovely Bones?
Yes, I have.
So that one's like really horrific, but
Mm-hmm.
like she is meant to represent like innocence and light, and like yeah, that double-edged sword right there, you pull them in with the bright, and then really there's a monster. It's like that's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What is your favorite color?
Probably like dark red, something like that. I really like reds and purples and like black, obviously.
Black. Yeah, we'll
So
just call that not even a color. It's just a.
yeah,
It's
exactly. So mainly dark red.
yeah.
I've been trying to get like a lot of the decoration in my living room is like black, gold, and red themes. So we're
Okay.
getting there.
I was either gonna guess purple or red, so I'm glad
Mhm.
those are at least kind of neck and neck.
Predictable.
When working on a project, day one, what is the first task that you do? Like, take me maybe through day one of you're assigned something. Go.
Mhm.
What do you do?
First of all, it's figuring out what is the project. So a lot of times quite commonly when art joins on a project, the content developers, so people like Mod Mod Ryan, Mod Ramen, they have been working on it for a little bit already, and they will have an idea, like a design. So first thing I would do is come in, talk with them, see what their vision is, what they want this to be, and then kind of either if their idea is like completely batshit crazy, kind of like talk them into a bit more of like a direction that makes sense, or almost encourage it more at the same time. Try and come up with my own ideas and start brainstorming together. Like yesterday, we had um, a day that we were in the office, the entire team who was working on the skilling boss, where we just threw ideas at a wall and like we went into it being like with a lot of open-ended questions of what is a skilling boss, what is this exactly, how does this work, and we came out of it with like a really clear idea and clear visual in our head of what it was going to look like, which was really cool. But then for environment, it would be as soon as we have that idea, it is go into the engine and just with rough shapes, like non-texture, just like actual like blocks and boxes almost. Just block something out, like have a space, have some shapes going into it, so that you have like a bit of a layout and people can start
You kind of get the
walking.
scale of it as
Yeah,
well a little bit.
yeah. So that kind of is day one, and well, it's more than a few days usually.
Sure.
It would be really fast to get the idea of what it is and already have a layout by the end of the first day. But that is a lot of it. Just I personally immediately like to put a bunch of lights on it, like the screenshot that I posted back in
Hmm.
December or whenever it was of the Daemonheim Digsite. That was just untextured white boxes, but already with like a dramatic red lighting on it, which already shows a lot of the layout and the atmosphere that you want it to go to.
Yeah.
Like, even if it doesn't have any of the actual details yet, that already sells quite a bit of, or gives people a good idea of like, oh, this is what it's going to look like. So
Yeah.
I really like to lean into that.
It already looked cool, and again, I have had that image just saved in a folder, freaking obsessing over it since it was posted because like I had heard it mentioned in game jams and stuff, and
Yeah.
then my brain started going crazy. That one alone, I'm like, because there was so much more to it than even I anticipated, and like I'm a hopeful person. People say I'm on copium all the time, but it like vastly exceeded my expectations going into it. Like also too, the environment there is sold like there are pieces of like the grating under the moksha that are torn away. There's like some like rust on parts of it, and it's like how thorough it looks like, because also too I'm a person who will go with free cam and look at it from a bunch of
Mm.
different angles. And like to be honest, older stuff, if I go through a wall and turn around and look at myself, it looks like shit, and it's like a bunch of boxes and some other
Yeah.
stuff. But I was like sitting and going and looking around, and like it looks so good. Like it looks so good. It's not like it doesn't just have on like I don't know a mask, and then you look at it from like a different angle and stuff. So yeah, no, that was super cool. I know I've been nerding out about it, but it is really nice.
No, it's I like. I mean, I like it when people take the time to actually look around and see what is there. It's kind of why we do it as well, right?
Yeah,
It's like
no,
a lot of the environment artists, like I know Mod Alex especially, always goes crazy with set dressing and little details everywhere. And he's like, it's there for like some players to actually take the time and find it.
well,
But
even after this conversation, just hearing that there's something out there in the rift is like I'm probably gonna spend way too much time in here trying to find any little bits that I might have missed. Um, let's see. Oh, so you don't design characters for the
no.
game, but I did ask a question. Do you prefer designing human characters or non-human? But maybe do you prefer developing human or non-human environments? Like, do you think
Mm,
like do you have a preference with that? I know you mentioned medieval, but maybe we could chat a little
yeah.
bit about like more specifics on that.
I think there's fun in both. Like I like when you make human environments. Like I created the Fort Forestry. It's there's something nice about it. Just being able to create like actual medieval buildings and dressing it and kind of it's almost like a very elaborate version of The Sims where you make
Yeah.
all of the individual pieces yourself as well. It's nice being able to go in and decorate it in a way that you want. But at the same time, there's something really fun about non-human and like alien environments as well, because you can go so much more creative and so much more crazy. Like I really like making cinematic environments and cinematic shots. Like the
Mhm.
first environment I made from scratch for RuneScape, where I was responsible from like beginning to end, was Glacier Front for Elder God Wars.
Oh, okay.
So like I knew from the very beginning I wanted to have that shot of like you walking up and seeing the aqueduct with the glacier on it from the distance, and I like being able to do things like that, which is a bit harder sometimes with just human environments.
Yeah, that place looks so cool. That makes me ask, like, would you ever want to design Lang, the world that the
Oh
glaciers?
yes, absolutely.
God, wow. See, that's a place, one of the few real places where like scale is captured. I
Mm,
feel like because like also too lore wise, you find out that there's a Glacier that's way bigger than the Arch Glacier, and it's like part of you imagines like, oh man, if we're out on the tundra and like just in the background, like you barely see it, like like let's say my screen right here is free cam. This is my person. Just in the background, there's a mountain, and you can barely see like the shadow of like a Glacier arm or something. Like that's the kind of stuff I think of.
yes.
Like because that would be cool, kind of like foreshadowing. It's not that we got to go up to that and fight it, um, but like I watched this channel, Curious Archive, and they do like it's a YouTube channel, and they do like breakdowns of different video games. But there's a few where they use like giant beings that are like dead in the background or like moving slowly in the background, and that totally accentuates it.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
know that you
exactly
worked
what I
on
would
that.
like.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was like I had been working. Like I've been on RuneScape since I joined. Like right when Farming and Herblore 120 came out. Um, I did like the first thing I did was just put like some like fruits on trees to like learn how to export it into the engine, and then I moved on to archaeology and made assets for that. So I've kind of been on it since then. But the first environment that I got to make completely from scratch, because before that I was kind of more on individual assets and
Hmm.
helping other environment artists out with their environments. But Arch Glacier was the first one that I got to do from scratch and be completely responsible for.
That really like I that's cool to know because like I like all of them, but Arch Glacier is the one that has the most like holy shit type feel, and
I yeah, I'm glad. I felt a bit competitive. I think we all did because there were four fronts, right? And we were kind of working on it at the same time and kind of like jumping over each other. So it was like, right, Carapac first. And then I did Archglacier where it was like, right, you have the shot of walking up to him. And then Alex did Croesus, and he was like, I also need to have a shot where you can like see him from a distance walking up to him. And then with Zach again the same, so we kind of tried to like outdo each other a little bit. I liked
yeah.
it.
And then even too, I really like the way the aqueduct is. Like all of that just
Mm.
looks it looks super cool. It's like it's kind of like you're up on a stage fighting the Glacier in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah, no, that's a good way of seeing it. I like that.
Um, how many tattoos do you have?
I when you sent this question, I was like, I should count them. I don't actually know. Also, like, do you count this as one tattoo?
No,
I'm not
I
sure.
personally like a lot of mine are kind of like fused now. I do
Mm,
more like session really,
yeah.
So roughly I say like I have 13 tattoos, but if you count things that are touching, I have like only like 7.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, this was like one design. Like,
Hmm.
I have. If this is one tattoo, then I have like 15 tattoos. But I have like my entire back covered. I have like my chest covered. Right.
That
Stuff
one
on my leg.
counts as like 4.
Right.
Yeah. Cuz
Yeah. My entire back tattoo probably also counts
yeah,
as
that's
more
like
than.
6 or
Let's say
8.
like in that case, like 20,
Okay.
25. Oh God. My parents are gonna be like, what are you doing?
That's how it was for me. Like I
Mm.
I went down on a trip to like Knoxville and just stayed with a family member, and I ended up getting like my first tattoo while I was down there and never planned on getting any, and I fell in love with it. I came back up and pretty much every check for like 8 months I was saving up and then going and spending like 6 hours at my dude
Mm.
getting tattoos, and it's been a minute since I've gotten any, but I think it's time to add some RuneScape tattoos. But
Yeah, I have a small RuneScape tattoo. I have like a Zamorak
oh,
symbol on there.
it
Like Mod Dragon and I got it tattooed after we both worked on Zamorak, kind of as like I
that
don't know,
is
that
so
was her
cool.
first job in the industry and we had such a good time working
That
on it.
hurts
That's
right
one.
there. That one hurts right there. Which, if you don't
It's
mind, which one?
fine.
I was gonna say you seem like you're one of the people who probably like don't think tattoos hurt that bad. I felt like I was being
It
murdered in hell.
it depends on where you get them. Like
Yeah.
have like both fronts of my shins tattooed, and that was horrible. I was gonna do both of them in one day, but like we got one done, and I was crying, and I was like, no, we're gonna split this up. But other than that, like the bottom of my back as well was really bad.
That
But yeah,
I can't imagine the shins. I have the back of my calves and like that didn't hurt. I fell asleep. I have a
yeah,
Blink 182 tattoo on the back of my legs. Silly. I love Blink-182. It's fine. I got it from.
Oh, actually, yeah. No, sorry. Continue.
I was just gonna say I got it from a guy at a flea market. Terrible,
Mm.
terrible place to go get a tattoo.
Yeah, no, I have a demon head on my stomach, and I think I blocked this out, but as
Had to
part of
hurt.
that, my tattoo artist like blacked out my belly button. That's horrible.
I was
Just
gonna
don't.
say
Just don't.
mine only goes to like the middle of my abdomen, and it was
Mm,
that's the one that made me feel like I was being tortured in hell. Like
yeah.
I was during it, and I'm like, please be done, and it's mostly like black, so it's just like in my head, I'm like, please be done, and he hasn't even started. That's really. Do you feel though like kind of tattoos is like penance in a way? Like the pain is worth the outcome.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely worth the outcome. Like, I don't enjoy sitting for the pain, and if I could do it painless, like, absolutely. But it's worth it because then it hurts for a few hours. And it's uncomfortable for several days after that, but then it's just there and it looks great.
Yeah,
So absolutely worth it.
I always liked getting them because it's like, and I mean, I'm not like a super insecure person, but it's like I feel more comfortable in my skin each time I get like a piece of my tapestry put together.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely as well. They're like a good way to like put stuff that you like on your body and like shape the body in a way that you prefer more.
and
So
be a journal.
completely agree with that. Mm.
It's like your story at the end of the day, and it really too. It's interesting. Kind of side tangent. Even in the last 10 years, like tattoos went from being taboo to like being totally fine in the workplace. Because I had to cover. I went to school for business management and stuff before I
Mm.
got into fighting, and it's like I would have to I would have to wear full sleeves. Like I couldn't even have like my forearm tattoo showing. I would have to wear that.
Yeah.
And like even here and there, I would have people say something if like a one of my like a button came open, and I'm talking about even if we're throwing stuff doing manual labor on opening. Hey, make sure you're wearing something to cover up to your neck and stuff like that. And I'm like, come on, who am I hurting? I don't have anything offensive. It's just
Yeah.
art.
No, exactly. I personally really don't see anything wrong with it. I like seeing people like have tattoos and
I know
dress
they're
for their
cool.
personality at work as well. And I like with the game industry that like, I can just wear whatever I want to work.
Yeah,
And yeah, other people I work with do the same, and it's really nice to
I
have that, to be able to do that.
self-expression in your all's job is so important.
Mhm.
Because like you were kind of talking about like with your art, if you don't enjoy the project you're working on, I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth by saying this, but it's just not going to be as thorough. Like you want,
No, it's free.
yeah, if you want to capture like Mod Blkwitch's essence, let her cook.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That was one of the honestly, every time I talk to one of the developers, I'm really like impressed with the consistency on each of you having like your own stance and unique look on things, and I can see it in your all's work too. So no, that's super cool. Um, how do we kind of maybe covered it a little bit, but maybe we can articulate it into something. How do tattoos express art in a different way than like other mediums? I know we've talked about some of your other art. Like, how do you feel like tattoos allow you to express yourself where maybe other
Mm.
art doesn't?
Yeah, so like kind of get tattoos for two reasons. Like I every tattoo I have at the moment is by a different artist, and I kind of see it as collecting artwork that I like.
Oh,
So I will specifically find people with styles and subjects that I like, and then get them to make a tattoo for me. So I kind of see it as collecting work. But yeah, it's kind of again shaping your body. So if there's parts of it that you don't like, it's kind of just enhancing yourself almost in a way that you have control over.
yeah.
So,
That's cool. I definitely feel the same about it. It's something that it's become so part of me that when people ask
mm.
me about it, sometimes I forget that I have any. No.
Yeah, same. It was. I was talking like I was messaging with Doom at one point like a while ago, and we were talking about tattoos, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm really a big fan of like the gothic windows you have," and I was like, "What gothic windows are you talking about?" And he had to like send a picture from like me, and it was just talking about like my. You can't really see it now, but like I have gothic arches
Hmm.
tattooed there. He was just talking about that, and he had to actually send me a picture of what I looked like for me to remember. Like, right,
I don't know if
Those are
these
there.
count. I don't know if these count. I haven't finished this part of my sleeve, but
Oh,
I've got like a lot of
yeah.
angel. I've got like a lot of angels and stuff. I've even actually
Mm,
got like a Diablo tattoo over here. But
nice.
I was gonna say somebody thought this was an angel or not an angel. Somebody thought this was an elephant one day, and I was just like, "Yep, it's
Mm.
an elephant with fire wings for ears and stuff." But nah, I think that like I don't know. The pain does suck again, but I can't wait to get more tattoos. I want to get
Mm.
yeah. If I had the money, I would just be every week in there, in pain, crying about it. Yeah, getting some ink done.
Same.
Uh,
Yeah, no, I have one in progress that I'm getting finished in August. So
okay, cool.
excited for
I'm jealous. Soon though. Okay, soon. I got to get the Zaltok throat piece. I do want to do something cool like that though. I'm thinking about maybe like getting Cranon, like because I have enough room
that.
here to him to have like his wingspan open and like I don't know how much you're like into Cranon, but it's cool how the center of his body is a slit and a mouth and like
Mm.
teeth and shit and like a black heart in it. So that might kind of be cool, like right there.
That could be cool, yeah.
So what is next for you on the job? What are you cooking up right now for us?
Skilling boss.
Skilling
It
boss.
is. It's quite early on. We're testing out like a few different like arenas and trying to like make it feel good and feel different. So at the moment, it is a lot of prototyping and testing out what feels good. But we have a really cool aesthetic for it that should make it look very, very impressive. So I'm working on that with Mod Strike and Mod Ramen.
Is it in the
And
Sanctum of Rebirth? I think that they maybe said that, or are you
it's related to it,
okay?
definitely. But
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was said. I feel like I remember that
Yeah, no, no, no.
on the very
They
first thing.
shared the
Yeah,
picture of the Sanctum as the
they did.
art, so I figured that would
Mm.
be okay. Yeah, I don't want to get you in trouble or nothing. I'm pretty excited. I've noticed that Azana has been getting a lot of feedback in the creator Discord. I've noticed Ramen and several other mods have been posting to get like community. Oh, do you like my cup, by the way?
I do.
Yeah,
It's
I just
nice.
yeah, I just realized I had a Disney princess cup. Whatever, right? Um, but it's I'm a father of four, may as well
Mm.
rock the Disney princess cup.
Oh yeah,
They don't need
absolutely.
coffee. But I'm pretty excited for that. I'm not much of a skiller, but the fact is that I feel like the team is up to the challenge to make a boss that everybody likes. So I am pretty curious to see like what's being cooked up.
Yeah, I think so. Like especially as well, Mod Ramen has a really good background
Oh yeah,
in creating bosses, and Mod Strike brings that like lore knowledge and like narrative knowledge to it. So I think
there's like a
there
dream
should be
team.
interesting stuff for everyone there. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Mod Fox, who did the concept for Daemonheim and a bunch of other really exciting concepts, he's working on Skilling Boss as well. And yeah, he's made some really cool designs on like the entire team. Like we showed it to the whole team today, and everyone is like
I
every
can't.
comment that we got on it is really excited about the direction we're going. So I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait to see some concept art because, like, again, we've still just got the actual pyramid that we have.
Mm,
Like, because my brain, again, I'm going through a million different things, and it's like, yeah, even with the Sanctum of Rebirth, all we've gotten so far is just like the image of the
yeah.
boss. I think I know the identity, maybe, but it either way, like. I think all of it going in this like super dark direction too, like complements kind of your style. So anything you do end up
Mm,
getting to work on, I'm pretty stoked for. All right, so we've got a viewer question from Crow XOXO. How hard would it be to switch to Unreal Engine 5.4, still making same style RuneScape graphics there, and ramp up the productivity of making content?
it will be really, really difficult because not just for art but for content as well. But like let's start for art specifically. Is there's no easy way to just like export all of our assets and materials and everything we have to any different engine. The material system that we have that we use in our engine only exists within our engine, so there's no like clean way to export it. So you would have to export all of the individual textures in game, all of the individual models that exist in game, because we also use a different format than what Unreal Engine uses, so you'd have to re-export everything. And you can start like beginning to imagine it's like 20 years worth of stuff. So like
It's a lot of stuff.
re-exporting everything and then rebuilding everything again as well. Because when you have all of the individual pieces, you would have to rebuild the world again as well and make sure that all of the terrain is good. And yeah, that would be a lot of work. And then RuneScape as well, from a developer side, from a programmer side, is written in a coding language that doesn't exist in Unreal Engine. So you would basically have to rewrite all of the content in the game in order to work. So that would be years to do. um, like, I wouldn't say it would take 20 years, because obviously you don't have to design everything, because everything already exists. You would just have to recreate it. But that would be years to get all of that working. And yeah, just rewriting and making everything again from scratch and getting that tested and making sure
So
that
you'd be making a whole new game at that
correct.
point.
Basically, yeah. It would be a lot of work, like so much work to get that functional.
Okay. I've seen people speculating that Jagex is cooking up some Unreal Engine stuff. I mean, I'm not a person again who's really like savvy with that kind of stuff, so I'm not really know what differences that would like offer or if that would even speed up productivity. Like, based on your work with it, do you think it would speed up productivity? Like, let's just say tomorrow it was already in there. Like, is Unreal Engine easier to use?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a lot easier to create environments in it and to make things look pretty. And there's a lot of quality of life that Unreal Engine has that we just don't. And because the tool that we use to build environments and to write code is made in house and it's constantly being worked on, there's moments sometimes where things will break, things aren't functional, or yeah, because it's made in house with a smaller team as well. Sometimes we want certain things that Unreal Engine has, and we have to wait for quite a while for them to figure out how to make that work in our engine. So if RuneScape would exist already and is built in Unreal Engine, and if we could skip that entire step to actually get it in there, from then on it would probably be faster. But yeah, we were talking about several years where you wouldn't get anything for us to be able to put it into Unreal Engine. So at this point, at the same time, when talking about content, of course, there is quite a few things in the engine like that function well for RuneScape. Like the engine part of it, a lot of it is designed specifically to speed up processes for RuneScape. So I think writing things like quests, for example, we're not talking about like designing a really good quest and getting all of the content in there, but just getting the functionality of like some of the basic interactions in is really fast because the engine is built to make that quickly and the engine is kind of built in a way that it's really easy almost for someone to come in and figure out how that works. So that is a quality of life that Unreal Engine wouldn't have. So there's positives and negatives about being in the engine that we are in, but yeah.
Okay.
It would take a really long time in order to get into Unreal Engine.
Yeah, and I mean, my computer might explode if RuneScape was in Unreal Engine. Not that I would mind RuneScape for it, but yeah, I definitely feel like it would explode. Another question that came to mind is, do you know how to use that sword behind you?
Not in a good way, no. But I like having swords. I don't know how to do actual sword fighting.
Sure.
But I'd be interested in learning at one point.
You got to stay strapped, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care how cringe I sound. I carry a sword around with me when I'm doing like my gardening work, and it's like
Why not?
yeah. Well, cause I mean I'm always cutting stuff. I use like an axe or machete
Mm.
depending on what I'm cutting. But the sword is just in case I run into any dragons. I mean you really can't be too careful these days, you know. But yeah, Mod Blkwitch, I really appreciate your time today. This has been so fun. I actually hope that, you know, maybe in the future you come back on, chat with my cringe ass for a little bit. I'm really, I'm thankful for the awesome work you're doing. It seems like the team is getting the love that you all deserve. I know that I'm sure for a while, as a developer who I genuinely believe cares about the game, you know, seeing like the content drought and the way people were reacting, and then now to see the complete 180 or 360, whatever you want to call it, and see people really happy. That's got to feel good, right?
Oh, seeing the reaction to the roadmap was so good. Like the atmosphere. I work from the office every day, and we have a group of people there every day, and the atmosphere is so much better than what it was a few months ago. So yes, definitely.
And it's not an easy job. It's like, and for what it's worth, I hope that interactions like this are helpful to you. People get to know
Yeah,
you
definitely.
and know that you're sincere. The game means a lot to you. Also, shout out to Rat Cipher. Had an awesome discussion with you. We're gonna make sure he gets that taken care of and out so people can enjoy it. But yeah, thank you so much for your time today. But I do have one question in closing,
Okay.
if that's all right.
Yeah, depending on what the question is.
All right. So you don't know what the question is, so that's good. It'll catch you off guard.
Do you really think you can save them?